Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tomea if you're new here. Today I'll be showing you how I created this two-piece set. So let's start with the skirts. For more details on the cutting of the skirt and the sewing as well, please see the video that I linked above and also in the description box below, because I already made an exact video like this. I explained it in detail, how I cut it and how I sew it as well. The only difference is here I'll be sewing the lining fabric first and then make it asymmetrical before actually sewing the main fabric. You see what I mean in a moment. So I'm using the lining fabric first. I mark the waist radius and then I mark the length of the skirt as well, all around, and then I join the dots and cut. I'm going to be cutting 4 pieces of this. I'll use the first piece to cut out the other 3 pieces that I need. Again, for detailed explanation, I want you to check out the video that I linked in the description box below for you guys. Next, I join the 4 pieces together and then I place on my mannequin So I'm using dimensions of a US size 6. Okay, so now I'm just going to be cutting the front part of the skirt to make it high at the front and then low at the back. When I'm satisfied with how it looks, I take it down and then I separate the pieces so I can use them to cut my main fabric. So I'm making reciprocals of the exact pieces. You'd expect that the two front pieces especially, they would be asymmetrical. They are not the same length as the other two pieces at the back. You have to take note of this when it's time to join the main fabric for the skirts together as well. Next, I sew the lining fabric to the main fabric for all 4 pieces. So I sew the lower part first, then I pull the lining fabric up for about 1 inch, This is to ensure that the fabric is not showing underneath the skirt when it's done. Next, I sew the sides as well, and then I join all 4 pieces together. Make sure you put the right pieces together. As I mentioned before, remember they are not the same length. Also, make sure the zipper allowance is left out as well. This is where I'll refer you to that video that I linked below, okay? Next step is I cut out the waistband and then I attach it to the main skirt. Again, check out the video that I linked below, just because I'm not going into details in this video, okay? Next, we're going to be making the top of the two-piece, okay? So I'm going to be using the dimensions of a US size 6, like I mentioned before. So the bust measurement is 35 and then the waist measurement is 27. Adjust my body form accordingly to suit the size that I'm making the dress for. making sure that I take in the darts, and then I cut out the armhole. Okay, also make sure to take the sewing allowance into consideration as well. If this was going to be just a general pattern, then you want to make sure that you're specific if the pattern includes a sewing allowance or if it does not. I drape the back of the top. The length of this top is only up to the waist level. Okay, so cut out the extra fabric, making sure to leave the sewing allowance. You have to remember that. Okay, except you're cutting a pattern first, and then you're going to be cutting everything, the lining fabric and the main fabric differently. Okay, so if you don't have a sewing allowance included in your pattern, you have to make sure that you take note of that for when you're going to cut the main fabric and when you're going to sew. Next, I use the lining fabric to cut the fabric, the main fabric out. Okay, so I secure with needles and then I cut. Sorry, I secure with. So I secure with pins and then I cut. What I'm doing next is cutting out a rectangular piece to make a bow for the top, just to give it a little, extra edge. Next, I'm sewing the lining fabric and the main fabric of the top. Now that that's done, I join the front and back piece together with my sewing allowance. Next, I'm sewing the bow. So this is the final look. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.